What a show.
Dude, what a show. So that's the gym that I came up in, and it's hard for me to put to words how much that place means to me and how much Mike means to me. So that was really cool because I can't do it justice by telling the story because I just know my parts of when I came along and just hearing snippets of his story. It's really cool to hear how it all just came to be. It is very much a meant-to-be place. From how they started to where we are now and everywhere in between, even the little things. Gym happened to close and those people spread out at a time when we needed money or the gym needed money. COVID, how we overcame that. Like Mike literally went from having a pipe dream to building an empire.
I think that's where it ends up for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really think the AForce, it's not to shit talk any of the other local gyms, but I think AForce's growth rate is just it's going to continue to grow, and the vision that they have for the gym, I think it's going to just become Jiu-Jitsu Mecca in Southwest Missouri. It's going to be the spot.
Yeah.
Within a reasonable traveling distance of the gym, obviously,
we've already got guys coming from damn near Arkansas, Oklahoma, and Kansas that drive over every single day and train with us.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't realize we had people that traveled that far.
Yep.
Yeah, that's awesome. That was an excellent conversation, and I was already proud of the place.
Yeah.
And now, after hearing Mike talk about it, even more proud to be part of it.
Yeah.
It was just an awesome conversation.
Now, do you see why he protects the culture and the legacy of the place a little bit more?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was mind-blowing.
Yep.
That was just hearing the story of the gym was awesome. I don't know what else to say about it. Worth listening to.
Yeah, absolutely. Dude, thanks for doing this.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah, you're skipping a kids class and comp class to be here.
Fundamentals class and comp class.
Fundies. Oh, yeah, no kids class on Mondays there.
Yeah, I mean, fundamentals class has a lot of kids in it usually. It's, they kind of get it in between kids class and adults class kind of.
Yeah. Thanks for doing this.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
I'll do this intro since I know Mike so well.
I think that's totally fitting. I actually thought about that today, how you guys should kick it off because you have the amount of history that you have. It only makes sense.
Yeah. Man, I started coming to AForce in 2017, the end of 2017. You were still a brown belt.
Yep. I think I was still a purple belt then. I didn't
You
get my
just
brown belt
gotten
until
brown?
2019.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah.
Man. All right, well.
I was actually a fresh purple belt in 2016. I got my purple belt in, I think, June of 2016.
Dang.
So, yeah, we opened up the gym as blue belts in, kind of our first location, unofficial location, 2016.
And then when did you open up there in Webb?
Officially, January 31st of 2017.
Okay. So I came October of 2017.
Mm-hmm.
I was looking back at text messages and things where we hit it, and October of 17 is I was there, and just kind of been really fun to watch you, the two mics.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I struggled with this when I was doing the intro stuff to call you Big Mike because we all call you Big Mike or call you Coach Mike.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna roll with Coach Mike because it sounds more professional, but Big Mike and then Pranker.
Little Mike.
Yeah, Little Mike. But to see you guys grow and how you teach, to see how the culture's kind of changed, to go from, man, when we had a full class, there was 5 guys on the mats, and we thought
great.
It was super full.
Yeah.
I remember showing up on days when it was just me and you, and it was a private for weeks on end.
Before COVID, we had a class with 7 people, and I was fucking stoked. I was
Yeah.
like, man, we're going to make it. And this is great. You know,
That's wild.
it was nuts.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Like to think, like
To
for
think
you
that
guys to be able to think back to that. I mean, obviously we weren't around for it, but
There were so many classes where it was just me and Pranker, and we would just roll for an hour straight and then go home. Or it was just me and I would drill on the dummy for, 45 minutes or something, So some of the drills that I show are just drills that, like, it was stuff that I knew I needed to fix. And so I would just drill that on the dummy. Like, I want to be better at this. I want to be able to teach this competently. This is embarrassing as fuck. Just the back roll, basic back roll, something you learn at white belt. We've got 4-year-old kids that can do it great. I couldn't do a back roll over my left shoulder until I owned my own gym. And I went in there and practiced it for like an hour one day. Nobody was there to judge me. And then I could do it. It was the most ridiculous shit ever.
you hear people talk about like the pace that somebody learns at compared to somebody else, and they say like it's your journey. Don't compare yourself to other people. And at first, I thought it was kind of silly. Like I don't want to suck, Like I want to be.
You gotta suck.
Well, I mean, obviously, I'm going to suck, but I don't want to suck worse than I should suck for like the amount of time that I've been training. Right?
Right.
Yeah, but you got that learning disability, so it's fine.
That makes it
It's
it makes it more
understandable.
acceptable.
Yeah.
But the whole journey thing, and it's your journey, like don't compare it to anybody else's. The longer I'm around, the more I realize how true that really is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like I'm not going to pick things up at the same pace that a 20-year-old, physical phenom is going to,
Right.
just because of physical limitations, and then the ability to learn at an older age is completely different than like watching the kids.
Oh
It
my God, they're
blows my
ridiculous.
mind watching the kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, me
How
too.
fast they pick up on things. I feel like anytime I get out and roll, it's just a backyard wrestle fuck. And I've been trying to learn jiu-jitsu for a year and a half almost. And then you see like an 8-year-old and 9-year-old kid, and it's like they're doing jiu-jitsu.
I trained for a year before I ever got my first sub. I trained for 6 months before I escaped anybody's side control. Like my first, it's still a struggle for me, but white belt was a huge struggle for me. And, I was a white belt for 6 years. I had that shittiness just all the time. I didn't know what I was doing. I wasn't athletic. I wasn't aggressive. I'm still not aggressive. I'm still not athletic, but I've just done it so long that I accidentally learned some stuff. And some people don't ever get that struggle. Like Pranker was never shitty. As a 6-month white belt, Pranker was subbing blue belts in tournaments. He's just always been great.
And he's super athletic.
That's what it was the athleticism. And then he had that neck injury, and he had 9 months where he didn't get to train. And he
just watched.
He came in every single class and watched. And that was when he became technical the way he is now. That was when he really started to understand, like, I can slow down and still fuck this guy up. He's like, he's got that computer brain.
Yeah.
I never had that. So sometimes, when you see his teaching style versus mine, you'll see Pranker, teach something that'll fucking confuse a brown belt to a room full of white belts, because he never had that struggle of sucking, And, some guys like Dave Lopez that had Mac Club, phenomenal at jiu-jitsu.
100%.
He never had that period where he sucked, and he's teaching like 87-step sweeps to a room full of white belts, and they're like, oh shit, this is hard. He never had that struggle. So obviously they're both way better at jiu-jitsu than I am. But I had that struggle, and I had to put things into basically little kid terms for myself so that I could be able to teach things. Like I had, part of my white belt struggle was I couldn't afford to train. And my coach was like, come in and teach the kids class. I'd never taught anything in my life. I'm like, well, what do I teach them? And he said, and this is something that I still tell people when they start teaching, he just said, teach what you're comfortable teaching. Because if you teach something and you half-ass it and you don't know how to answer questions, people see that and they're just like, this isn't real. This guy's a farce. Screw this. So I started teaching kids, and that really made me start to think about, like, I have to think about when I see something now, I think of it like, all right, well, I have to be able to teach this. I have to have all these parts. And back then, before that, it was, well, I start here and I end here. Who fucking cares what happens in the middle? Right? And my jiu-jitsu sucked. No, I mean, it still sucks, but like, you know, after that, it started to suck maybe a little less. I got a little competent with, okay, I can do this. I can replicate this. I can keep doing this, and it helped a lot. But, then we opened up our own gym as blue belts, and it was just me and Pranker teaching ourselves again. And so, it's kind of slow going, but I had to kind of learn how to teach. And you showed up kind of right after our first iteration of the gym, which was next to the Mucho Mexico, kind of across from Flag City there.
Mm-hmm.
Great little spot. I just, when we decided we didn't want to open up a gym, we just wanted a place to roll. And I knew that one of our old training partners, Cesario, had some properties, and I was like, hey, do you have a garage we can throw some mats in? And he said, I've got this building, I've already got mats in it, come on over. I was like, hell yeah. And so we went in there, and they're little thin puzzle mats. And that week, Jake Fox listed all of his old mats for sale on Facebook. And I said, Pranker, we need these mats. And he went and got them. He's like, I'm on my way. He went to Wichita, picked them up right then. So those are the old mats that we have. I think you have them now, maybe.
Yeah, there's two of them right behind you. Behind those little doors right there.
So
I've got one.
Yep.
Yeah. So, those mats,
That's badass.
And
That's
then-
so
cool,
that's like a piece
yeah.
of A-Force history.
No,
Yeah,
that, yeah, that's so cool.
those are from when Fox first opened up his gym in like 2013, which is, that's the year Fox got his black belt, like way back in the day. It might have been 2012. I don't know. But those are some old ass mats.
Yeah.
And, we had them. We were stoked. We were like, these are the nicest mats I've ever seen in my life. So, we got the mats, and it's like, well, shit, we kind of almost accidentally have a gym. And I was talking to Andre, and I'm like, hey, we're going to do this. I don't know what we should call it. And he said, call it AForce Missouri. So it felt good to me that as a shitty ass blue belt, Andre trusted me enough to, use his name. So we didn't really have a real gym there. It was just a few of us training in some building. We didn't have an LLC or anything. It was just kind of us, whatever. And then we ended up leaving that location and got a new spot. I just said, did the Walker, you say a lot.
I do.
You don't really. You don't really. I just heard that on the podcast earlier. I'm an
It's
avid
for
listener.
real.
No, he does.
Listener. So
One of three.
when we got to the
Thanks for your support. It means so much. Thank you.
when we got to the new spot, I'm like, all right, well, we're gonna do this right. We're gonna set up a business. We're gonna get everything right with all the, get the EIN number. We're gonna set up a real bank account. We're gonna do, we're gonna get the insurance. We're gonna do everything right. And that's just where we were forever. And for the first several years, it was just me and Pranker paying all the bills out of our pocket because, we would make $300 in a month or whatever, and we loved that. We were like, this is great. We get to train whenever we want. We get to do, whatever we want. We get to teach whatever we want. And, it was great. And then the first time we didn't have to pay in out of our own pockets for rent, I was like, hey, yeah, Mike, we don't need any money this month. And he was so scared. He was worried. He was like, why? What happened? And I'm like, well, there's enough money in there. We don't have to. We made enough money. He's like, how? I don't know. We got all these morning classes. We got these evening classes.
What
People
year
showing
was
up.
that? You remember?
That might have been 2020, right before COVID.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
What awesome timing.
Yeah.
Right?
Well,
Yeah.
it actually, it could have been worse. We actually came out of COVID better than we were before COVID.
Really?
So when COVID first hit, I'm just terrified, obviously, as everyone else was. But I had just done, I did real estate appraisal for 20 years before Jiu-Jitsu. Not before Jiu-Jitsu, before I started doing Jiu-Jitsu full time anyway. So I had done some real estate appraisal work for the people that own the building right before that. And I was like, hey, hang on to all that money because I don't know if I'm going to be able to pay you guys rent. And it was like 6 months worth of rent. And I'm just like, all right, we got rent for 6 months. I can scrounge up enough for utilities to keep this thing going until whatever the shit's over. So it was actually great timing for us. Then we had to figure out how to do everything with COVID. I don't know what the guidelines were. You could have 8 people in there based on the square footage or 10 or something. So we went in there and put tape down on the mats, taped off, I don't know what they were, 6 foot squares, 8 foot squares, whatever the recommendation was. And it was just solo drills. But since we could only have a finite amount of people, I limited to 10 people, put a sign up sheet online. Like, you guys sign up for this. I'm like, nobody's going to fucking show up anyway. Our biggest class right before that was 7 people. You know, every class filled up. There was a waiting list for every single class.
Yeah.
No shit.
I went to a few of them, and then it got so hard because I was still on the road. So it was so hard for me to balance my schedule. To make it to a class, I just kind of gave up.
I bet with everything shutting down and, you know, the people that were like hardcore playing by the rules, people were going stir crazy looking for something to do.
Yeah.
And they were like, let's do exactly what the government says not to do. And
we were getting new people just left and right. And I'm like, what? You guys are crazy. This is great. I loved it, you know? And so we had to kind of figure out, you know, what kind of protocols to put in place to, I mean, not only keep people safe, but at least, you know, I mean, there's only so much we can do, but give them the illusion that we're keeping them safe. You know, I would be like, all right, well, everyone's got to wear a rash guard. And I'd get a message from somebody, you know, rash guard is not going to do anything, right? And I'm like, well, it looks like we're trying. And that's what we need. We want people to feel safe. We want people to feel comfortable. And we are, I mean, we would disinfect, you know, in between kids' class and adults' classes. We'd make the classes shorter so we could disinfect, let everything dry. You know, we were disinfecting the walls, the walkways, and, you know, stuff we do anyway, just because Pranker and I are just grossed out by, for me, I'm just grossed out by germs. Just disgusting to me. And Pranker can't do hair. Oh my God, there's a spare hair, the stray hair on the mat, and he freaks out. So don't ever say the word pube if it looks like he has a hair in his mouth, because he will dry heave. And
unless you're stuck in his guard, and be like, oh, look at that pube in your mouth, and then he'll lose it.
He's never gonna sub me again.
I'm always like, man, that's gonna be so funny. I'm gonna say it, and then I see it, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm a piece of shit. I shouldn't have done that, because it's like a real like effect on him. Like, I'm just like, oh yeah, maybe I should not do that. But yeah, I mean, somehow we came out of COVID better than we were before, and you know, it's great. Chesney started during COVID. All he knew was solo drills for his first couple months. You know.
Yep.
It's great. I guess we just really lucked out the way that we got through that. And everybody wanted to get into some activity and fitness, so that helped us a lot. And then after that, it's just kind of been a steady, you know, slow growth for a while. The past couple of years have been crazy.
Yeah. And I mean, so the past few years have been, there was a gym that kind of went defunct that had some people just kind of scatter. Mm-hmm. And in a place like Southwest Missouri, there's only so many places. But one of the really cool things that you guys did, it was right before COVID started. I don't know, Chloe made that design.
4-State Grappling Alliance, yeah.
4-State Grappling
Absolutely.
Alliance. Because you hear people in different places, it's always this place versus this place versus this place. And here it was very much like, you guys have never, at least me being there, never talked bad about another gym, never said, now you've said be careful or things like that, but it's never been in a bad way. It's always been, if you go there, be careful, make sure you don't get hurt, kind of just preparing somebody for what their culture is, because our culture is definitely different. But you guys have managed to kind of wrap your arms around everybody, and it's just a jiu-jitsu culture, really. Yeah. There's 7 gyms in the Grappling Alliance that guys just kind of bounce back and forth from Oklahoma down almost Arkansas and Kansas and everywhere. So
I love it, and everyone responds really well to it. One of the things that we wanted to do when we opened up was like, we want to make sure that everyone's cool with cross training, you know. So that's kind of why we did that. I'm going to say just like you say all the time. So you can start the counter. So we started that just to make sure everyone's cool with training together. You know, we would did it right there. we would cancel class and say, hey, we're all going to go over to White Knight Jiu-Jitsu tonight. We're all going to visit there. We're all going to go over to Victory and go train there. We're going to go to the judo gym, train there, you know, because I want people to have that experience. I want people to learn from other people too and know that it's okay. I don't like, my jiu-jitsu is not well-rounded enough to only learn from me. That's why, I mean, I like having all the coaches that we have, because we've all got kind of different games, and my game is not a comprehensive game. If you ask me anything on deep half guard, I'm just going to pick my nose and start drooling. I'm so horrible at deep half. I've done so many seminars of deep half, and it's one of those things I can't pick up. So, just so you know, not a real black belt, basically. But I want people to train with everybody. When I was a white belt and blue belt, I was training, you know, we had class twice a week. I would train 4 days a week. I would visit 4 different gyms. I would go to White Knight. I would drive to Mount Vernon to train at Strikehold. I would go to Mat Club. I would go to Victory. I would go to all these other gyms because, I mean, there's great instruction. There's a lot of great jiu-jitsu around here. You know, why would I not take advantage of that? Why would I not want to learn as much as possible? So that's kind of why I did that, just because I want everyone else to know that it's cool to train. It's jiu-jitsu. Come on. We're not have secret techniques and shit. We're not hiding the death touch or anything, you know?
Yeah.
And if I can get good at, Mat Club, those guys all had a phenomenal guard. We didn't have a great guard. We had good, back then it was pressure passing. We all did a lot of pressure passing back then. Great. Go work with people that have a great fucking guard. That's going to help your passing.
Yep.
And you know what? Maybe you're going to pick up some guard stuff. Like, it helps to have, all the different styles together. And I think that the styles have kind of homogenized a little bit now that we all kind of train together. It's all kind of, it's all jiu-jitsu now. It's not, there are obviously gyms that have specialties. Like, I'm not going to stand up on the feet with any of the judo people for fucking sure. Except Big Ethan, because he'll throw me through the air gently and just let me down soft like a baby. And it, kind of feels safe. But, like, it's great. I love how good everyone's gotten and how everyone loves to train together now. Every open mat, every weekend, you'll see 5 or 6 gyms at least. If you get some random drop in, we'll have people drive in from Kansas City or Springfield to come to our open mats. I'm like, oh, what brings you to town? Just this open mat. What the hell? Us? Cool. Great. That feels awesome. And it's just because we got so many people that, train all the time and train with other people all the time and learn all these different styles. And
it's cool to see how the jiu-jitsu web kind of intermingles.
Yeah.
You can pretty much go anywhere around town and know the guys from the gym and see somebody at another gym or just out in life.
Yeah.
I was in town here and I ran into a guy from the gym. Like, I did not know you worked in town. It's crazy how it crosses paths sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely.
So one of the things that I've said from the jump, there's 2 things I brag about the gym. Number 1 is you teaching kids class. And it makes sense once you explain how you learn and stuff, because I tell everyone, I'm like, hey, I've seen kids classes at other gyms. I will, however, say that Big Mike is probably one of the best kids teachers I've ever seen as far as teaching kiddos jiu-jitsu, because just the way you simplify things. Dude, you changed the way that I teach DT class, because I'm teaching dumb cops sometimes, when I'm like, put your hand out like I'm asking for Skittles, and it just clicks with people.
Yeah.
So the way that you can break stuff down to kids, I always push people. I'm like, if you have a kid, if they're 6 or older, bring them to AForce. That's
good, because
where
I
you
always
go.
feel like I don't know what the hell I'm doing when I'm teaching kids.
No, dude, I love watching you teach kids class.
One of my favorite things when I'm visiting a gym is I show up early and I catch part of the kids class so I can see what they're doing. And hell, half the time I'm just winging it. Thankfully, there's some Instagram groups, they're showing great games and drills for kids. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's a really good idea. Try and gamify everything. They learn better that way, but I still just feel lost all the time. But if I get a chance to see Andre do a kids seminar, or I see Jake's gym do a kids class, or if we're in the Florida gym, the Ponte Vedra gym, they have a ridiculous kids program. And they'll start sparring, quiet, not a peep. Perfect technique. They've got kids pan medalists there. I mean, great. They're all wearing the exact same gi. They're quiet. Nobody's out of line. Nobody's being a jerk. And I'm just like, I really want that. And, I kind of lose the room a little bit with some of these kids. And I am not enough of a hard ass,
Yeah.
Thankfully, we've got Randy who will hop in there and he'll give them the old dad voice, or Justin, And so without those guys, I think they realize that I'm kind of a soft ass,
I'll yell at some kids for
Hell yeah.
sure.
Come yell
Can't
at some
teach
kids.
them anything, but I'll yell at them.
That's
That's
90% of it.
I'm the fun guy, so that is what I figured out with going to kids class. Now I'm the fun guy. Justin's the mean guy when we teach on Wednesdays. With Randy being gone, I'm like, I'm the fun guy. I'm the funkle. We will have fun. Everything's a game. So it's a good contrast. But then the next part I brag on is always the culture portion. Since I've been there, you guys have had the exact same culture. I know you've had to kind of nurture it, mold it, and maybe the right people have come along to help keep it growing, keep it pushing forward. But you guys, from the day I walked in the door, it was very much that safe, welcoming environment and pretty chill.
Mm-hmm.
But paramount of we're going to be safe, we're going to be clean. And I remember, I think it was my third time there. I see you guys. I'm like, so you clean these mats? Yes, we clean these mats. And you were literally went into depth on how you clean it, why you clean it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just one of the cool things, to keep up culture wise, because you look at somebody like Randy. I know that you and Pranker drive culture, but then I think Randy's kind of the granddad that has gotten a hold of the culture and pushes
He's
it.
one of the best gym ambassadors you could ask for.
Dude, 100%.
Absolute great person, great teacher. I mean, just great to have around.
So I always look at him and I'm like, this is what I want to be. This is what we need, a gym full of people. Just to keep driving that culture, because somebody new walks in, he shakes their hand. He knows their name by the time they leave. When they come back, he remembers their name. And man, I don't know how ever old he is.
63, I think.
63, yeah.
Yeah.
And the guy retired at a really great company, doing really good stuff. And it's a fight every day to get him out of the bathroom because he wants to clean.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
That blows my mind. But you guys have
what are you doing? If you ask him, he says he was a janitor, which obviously he was not. I'm just like, hey,
no, he was not.
I appreciate
I think he
you.
started that way, though.
He could have. I don't
I
know.
think he drove a truck.
Did he?
Yeah, he drove a truck for a long time. But he's just, he's got, the kind of work ethic that everyone wishes they had. Like, even in retirement, he's, working on the farm. He's in the gym just cleaning it head to toe. And I'm like, dude, let us in here and let us do this. No, I got it. You know you don't need to do that. You do plenty. Stop that. And he's just a great person. And, that's what I want. I want jiu-jitsu to be a place where people can go and the stress is gone for that hour and a half that you're there. You don't have to deal with any bullshit. You don't want to deal with some, smelly mats. You don't want to deal with some asshole just, being a dick for no reason. My first ever jiu-jitsu class, it was an MMA class, I guess. I had to go against a wrestler. Ryan Johnson was his name. Really good wrestler. Didn't know that at that point. I'd never done any sort of, aside from like karate and taekwondo when I was a little kid, I'd never done any sort of martial arts, no wrestling. I played football when I was 12. That's the most violent thing I ever did. So I go in there and this guy takes me down. I put my hands on the mat in like a shitty turtle position, like a referee's position almost. And he just takes my back, flattens me out. Mind you, I'm about 350 at this point, and this guy was like 205. And he just flattened me out like I was the most useless fucking napkin he's ever seen. And he's just flattened me out on the table here. And I was like, holy shit, this is scary. And he was so nice about it. And he was like, see, what happened here was you put your hands on the mat. You couldn't use those to fight me. I set my hooks here. I drove my hips in. I'm just like, holy shit. Is this jiu-jitsu? He's like, well, that was wrestling. And I'm like, oh, is that different? What is that? I didn't know. I knew what wrestling was. I had friends that wrestled. They tried to get me to wrestle forever, and I was too much of a wuss to wrestle because I didn't want people to make fun of my man boobs in the singlet. That was literally my reasoning.
Well,
yeah, it's a dumb reason. So I had Ryan there, and I was like, this guy makes me feel welcome here. I love this. And he wasn't there very long, but I remember that was my first class. My second class, my coach had us do a guard sit-up. Like you put somebody in your guard and they stand up and then you do a sit-up. Mm-hmm. And my coach looked over and he said, hey, you probably can't do this one. And I'm just like, yeah, you're probably right. It's fine. And Ryan said, no, we're doing this. Come over here. And I did it. And I was like, well, holy fucking shit. I can do stuff. I always had that mindset of if I'm not good at something immediately, I'm never going to get good at it, that's entity learning versus incremental learning. Right? If you've got the entity learning, it's, well, I'm not good at it. I'm never going to be good at it. That was me with every sport, everything I ever did in my entire life. And then when I started training MMA, I'm like, wait, if I work at this, it does get easier. This is cool. What's that about? And that's the incremental learning. I was like, I wish everybody was like this Ryan guy. And then, he left. I think he might have had some health issues and then he moved away. He actually is friends with Ehrman. Ehrman wrestled with him. If you ask Ehrman, he was Ryan's punching bag for a few years. If you ask Ryan, he says that Ehrman was a really nice person, but he won't go into depth about anything else. But Ryan was just such a good guy. And I wanted, when I opened up the gym, I wanted people to be like that. I want people to feel like, yeah, you're going to suck, but you're going to try and you're going to get better. So that's what I like, and having good people in the gym. Like Pranker's a sweet man, right? Yeah. I've never seen him be a dick to anybody.
No.
I've seen him be assertive like twice ever. and that's it. And I'm very lucky that he's the guy that really we went into this with. Seth was the third, but then Seth moved to Arkansas and disappeared, so it was just me and Pranker after that. Yeah, we want people to feel like it's a good place to be. We have had people in the past that they and I found this after one of the 2 times I saw Pranker assertive was when he kicked this guy out of the gym for just being a horrible person. I think he's actually in prison now. Unrelated to being a dick in the gym.
Plot twist.
But so we just want people to be nice. We want people to not be dicks. I kind of lost my train of thought.
No,
there.
you're fine.
I'm on
So
the spot.
that's one of the things that, like, when we talk culture, I've been around long enough. So I know I had some time off from injuries and just life. But every time I've been there, I don't know, maybe it's because the nature of my job or we're just kind of similar in that. But, like, it seems like I always get to hear about a little bit of something that happens at a gym, a little bit of drama, a little bit of issues, whatever.
Mhm.
And I've seen you guys continue to take stands and protect a culture.
Right.
It's easy to not. So if you run a business or have a group or whatever it is, it's easy sometimes to take it easy on somebody just because of who they are, their stature, or anything.
Right.
But you guys have chosen the gym first. Like, what's your mentality to protect that culture?
So I would say before when I had a full-time job, I'm not sure if I cared less, but it wasn't as impactful to me, and I still we had to kick a couple guys out. One guy started a fucking fight club in a jail and it made national news. His Facebook profile picture was him in front of our logo. And I'm like, nope, that's not good. So, we had to get that guy out of there. And then the other guy, he liked to talk a lot of smack in the group chat and then get really mad and threaten people if they talk smack back. So that's why he got asked to leave. We don't really want that there. And now that it's like when I'm kind of getting all over
That's okay.
with the timeline of the gym here. A few years ago when, it kind of seemed like the real estate market was going to slow down again. And I was worried there was going to be another 2008. I was thinking like, man, I don't know if I want to keep working in real estate. And my mom and my wife both said my mom said, quit being a pussy and run the gym full time. Mom quote. And my wife, she said it a little more eloquently. She's like, do it. She's like, we're fine. It's okay. Go. She's like, as long as I can retire in 10 years, I don't care. Like, do what you need to do to get this gym going. And I had just listened to a podcast with Lance Trippett, who's like a martial arts, marketing advisor kind of guy. And he told the story about how when he realized he needed to be all the way in or all the way out with the gym, he was kind of half-assing it. He had a day job and the gym was okay. It was covering bills, but it wasn't setting the world on fire. And I'm like, well, this is really good timing. I need to just get off my ass. It's like the Karate Kid quote, walk right side road. Okay. Walk left side road. I hope that's not a racist accent, but walk over here.
If Matt
fine.
did it, he would find a way to make it racist.
And then, walk middle of the road, squish just like grape, right? That's one of my favorite Karate Kid quotes. And, it kind of made me think about that. And I'm just like, all right, well, let's fucking go. Let's do it. And so we added all the morning classes. I started, really trying to make everything grow. And then we started growing a little too much and I didn't want to advertise because the classes were getting too big, which is a great fucking problem. But in that little ass gym with 700 square feet of mats, having 40 people in those mats it's
tough.
It's a tall order.
Yeah, 100%.
So,
especially when none of us are small.
right.
Like, that was always the thing at that gym is like, I walk in there at 6'6", 250, and I'm an average size person.
Yeah, you're normal size.
Yeah.
So we moved into a bigger building, obviously not big enough. And my wife at the time told me, she's like, that's not going to be big enough. You're going to outgrow that fast. And I'm like, no, we'll be fine. We're adding like 400 square feet of mat space. It's going to be great. We're in the same location. I love the location. I love the landlord. I love it there. So we moved the gym like 50 feet into a bigger spot. And we outgrew that in about 4 months.
Yeah.
So when we moved in there, my goal was like, we're going to stay here for 3 years before we get a new spot. And I'd planned on 1.5 years to pay off all the construction we had to do. I got that paid off in 9 months. You know, our goal is just, I want to just keep putting, I don't take a paycheck from the gym right now. Like I put everything right back into the gym because I want it to grow as big and fast as we can. You know, there are obviously growing pains with growing fast, you know, more money, more problems, whatever. Which I know so many gym owners and I've gotten great advice from all of them. And they're just like, you know, I'll email them with some problems I have and they're like, congratulations, you're a real gym.
Yeah.
This is the kind of shit that's going to happen, which is, you know, it's part of it. I'm learning as I go, but you know, we're working on, in the works, you know, not really in the works, but you know, on the horizon, maybe not as close as I would like, but you know, getting another bigger spot sometime, you know. I don't know if it's going to happen anytime soon. I haven't even, you know, looked at anything like that. I mean, I freaking love our spot right now. I would like to stay there as long as possible.
We can run the nail place out next door.
No, she's a sweet lady.
Yeah, just move her around the corner or something.
Yeah, just move her into the old spot. It'll be fine.
Yeah, we can make some moves happen.
But I love it. You know, I love that spot. You know, we really lucked out with a lot of things, with Ryan doing all the construction, you know, relatively cheap. And
dude, and like
on Dewberg.
the location is wonderful.
Love
the
location.
access to the highway and all the major metropolis plus all the little cities around there. I think
great.
it's a wonderful spot.
I love it. And we lucked into the, you know, I wanted to do floating floors forever. And I was like, yeah, we could do this. We could do the floating floors. And then I started pricing it and I'm just like, all right, you can go to Fuji and buy floating floors. That's going to add about 13 grand to the build out. That sucks. We could do it ourselves, make our own floating floors for, you know, 4 or 5 grand. I just couldn't bring myself to do it. And so the day I bought those new Dollar mats for the gym, I was, you know, just kind of bummed because that's a big ass chunk of money to spend on mats.
Yeah.
And I went in to see Ryan, how he was doing in there. And he said, hey, do you want to do a floating floor in here? And I was like, man, I'd love to. It's just not in the budget. And he said, my brother just bought a building that was a dance studio. He's got 3,000 square feet of floating floor. Do you want it? It's free. He's going to throw it away. I'm like, well, yes, absolutely. I want that. Yes. And we just totally lucked into that. And I mean, I rode that high for weeks. I was just like, man, everything's so cool. My life is so good. You know, and now I don't think I could go back to a gym without a floating floor now.
Oh, no.
I'm a freaking pretty princess with that floating floor now.
It's
And a
super
bidet.
nice.
What's
Yeah,
that?
you can't forget the bidet.
Yeah, you have floating
There's some
floors and a
pros
bidet.
and cons of the bidet, though.
Well,
Cons, kids might leave them on.
Yeah.
yeah. Thankfully, that only happened one time.
Well,
but,
you got me
know,
paranoid. Now kids go in on Wednesday at kids class, and every time one walks out, I go check 'em.
Yeah. Well, it's really only that one kid. I think that's probably the issue. He's just ornery, you know. But you know, when I was doing the new gym, I got, you know, the way I make my decisions is this going to improve the gym? So I'm in the bathroom and I'm just like, yeah, there's a toilet there. It's probably only a few years old, but do we want some old toilet that's had a bunch of butts on it that, you know, I could probably spend a few hours to clean it up and make it look nice? Or should I just, you know, I'm already spending all this money. Should I just spend $150 on a nice toilet? Yeah, I'm going to get a nice toilet. I'm going to get a bidet. I don't know about you guys, but I prefer everyone to have a nice clean BH on the mats.
Yeah, 100%.
If I'm getting triangled by somebody, I don't want the freaking Swamps at Dagobah anywhere near my face. Like, you know, I'm going to add this bidet. Maybe some people clean their BHs here.
100%.
Yeah, I've got wipes in there. You know, I've got whatever. I want people to be clean. And that's just part of, you know, again, I'm grossed out by germs. I got to do it.
Yep.
And some things like that, I'm just like, even just like the toilet paper holder in there. I'm just like, I'm going to get this one that has a little phone shelf on it. People can set their phones down. Does that help the gym? Maybe. It was $7. I like that part. And we needed a toilet paper holder that wasn't a ghetto chrome dollar store one that was left over from a bakery. So I try to make sure that anything that I do is for a reason. You know, the front desk, it's a cheap $200 Amazon desk. I wanted it to look nicer though. I don't want it to look like a cheap Amazon $200 desk. So I painted it.
Yeah,
You know,
the circles on it are great.
Yeah, it's just circles, basically. But, you know, that's my art school education.
Yeah.
Going to good work, going to good use.
So now you and Pranker went into business together. You were friends before that. How has that balance been?
Man, if you've ever hung out with Pranker and I, you would think that we were, we fight like brothers, like married couple, like, we can really piss each other off and it's hilarious.
Yep.
And it's never turned into like bad blood or anything. We just, we like to pick at each other because, it's kind of funny. I couldn't ask for a better partner. He's got, a huge intangible for me is, somebody's got a good moral compass. I would trust that guy with anything except, maybe like not like a bag of Skittles because he'll go hard on that.
Self-tanner.
Yeah. But anything else, with my life, that guy, he's a good person. And that's the kind of person that we all want around us, is a good person like that. And he just happens to be a freaking encyclopedia of jiu-jitsu who can just learn, he likes to sit there. He's his hidden talent, and you're never going to fucking believe this. He can watch a John Danaher video all the way through. No.
And commit it to memory?
Then he'll watch it again.
Oh.
Bro.
Jesus Christ.
That's
you guys
fucking,
don't.
That's like Jason Bourne shit right there, right? How can you watch a John? I get about 15 minutes into Danaher, and I'm just like 2x speed, 3x speed.
I love it.
If I'm trying to go to sleep, I do.
I do that.
I love his explanations. There used to be a guy on YouTube that would do Danaher videos, but cut out all the talking. And I think he got like a copyright strike or something. But it'd be like 6 actual minutes of instruction. And, some of the greatest instruction you'll ever see.
Yep.
But he took out the philosophy major from it. But that guy can learn, and you'll talk to him, and you just be like, "What's this guy's deal?" But then he starts talking about jiu-jitsu. You're just like, oh, shit. He's talking about, creating a series of wedges and, just put this knee here and then this comes here, then they can't scoot here. I'm like, what the fuck? Sometimes Prank will be dropping knowledge on us and be like, oh, shit, I'm going to use that.
Now, if you've ever listened to us, I know when you guys teach, you're probably we give Pranker a hard time just between us because he has a certain word that he uses.
2 words he uses.
He likes okay guys.
He does like okay guys.
He also likes, and another thing.
Yep, but there's one more that Matt picks up on, and he does it really well.
It's fucking hilarious. You're not going to ever unhear it. You have to have noticed this over the years. So he'll be explaining something. He'll be like, if you do this and you block this and they try to do this, it's hard.
He'll be like,
do it like this and you get this easy, hard.
I love it. Yeah.
It cracks me up.
And you'll find that like some instructors get, things like that. And, whether it's an inflection or a phrase or whatever. And I've been fortunate enough to train with Denelson Pimenta a lot. And he comes to our summer camps a lot. And he's usually at our winter camps too. And he likes to say, it's so easy. I'm like, yeah, it's easy for you because you're one of the best jiu-jitsu practitioners in the history of the world. It's not easy for us. We are stupid and we need more help.
So Pranker is so smart. I have to check out sometimes because when I was off on baby leave, class was so fun because it was like my highlight of my day.
Uh-huh.
Now class comes in after I've worked a 10-hour day and I'm like, oh, just drained, and I go there. So sometimes I need to check out when he's like 15 minutes into explaining why he puts a knee there and turns it this way. And at the 5th time he says hard, we just kind of start laughing like, yeah, it's super hard. It's going to be hard, guys. It's going to be hard. So if you ever have to get on to us like you get on to the younger ones, it's fine. We get it.
I'm not afraid to do that.
That's totally fine. But we got to distract ourselves sometimes.
He will go, he will do a deep dive on, you don't always know when it's coming. You'll just get a random deep dive. Yeah. He's done it in the kids class before, and it's hilarious. Like when you're teaching kids, you kind of have to strip out a whole bunch of details. I've talked to a lot of coaches about that. You kind of have to, you take some steps out, and if they're getting it, go along individually, be like, hey, now try this, now add this, And Pranker will go in there and recite an entire Danaher video to these kids.
Yep.
And one of the, Pranker used to do so many arm bars and triangles. He doesn't really do much anymore, but if you get him started on the triangle, if we're doing something and I make the mistake of saying, yeah, you can go triangle from here, fucking watch out. Because if you give him a chance, you're going to get a 45-minute breakdown of every intricacy of every angle on the triangle and how to finish it optimally. And I'm like, hey, we're actually doing omoplata.
There was a month at the old gym when there was just 4 or 5 of us. I went there and it was like, I don't know, one night that I went like every Monday, whatever night he taught by himself. Maybe it's always been Wednesdays that he teaches.
Yeah, pretty much Wednesdays.
So it was Wednesdays for like a consecutive 4 Wednesdays in a row. it was just me and him. And he's like, let's do triangle. Let's do triangle. I love it. I mean, it's built for my long legs, but God.
People, lower belts, they'll get pissed on. Yeah, I've seen this before. Whatever. Yeah, I've seen this before. And I've seen it so many times. And as a teacher, it's one of the most frustrating things you'll ever fucking see. You're like, all right, well, shut up and listen.
Yep.
Don't just dismiss it. Yeah, I've done this before. When I was a white belt, I did the same thing. I'd go to a seminar. I'm like, well, I've already learned that. I've already done that before. Now if it's something as simple as a rear naked choke, I'm watching it because I'm going to pick up a new detail. And I love doing the same thing over and over. That's one of my favorite things. If I can drill something for an hour, there's a guy named Dustin Dennis, who's a terrifying man. He's a Carlson Gracie black belt. He's a De La Riva black belt. And his seminars are 3 hours, one technique.
Good.
And
Ollie.
I fucking love it. But he's also the kind of a hard ass, like, if you're not doing it right, he's going to demo the move on you. And also, he doesn't believe your taps. That one wasn't a real tap. You're an early tapper. So kind of scary, kind of an intense kind of guy. But I love that format of doing the same thing over and over. And at the same time, I have to realize that a lot of people don't like that at all. So when we just did a whole month of sweeps, towards the end, I was bringing in like Eric. I'm like, hey, Eric, you want to come show some sweeps? Like I want people to learn like the concepts of sweeps more than like a specific sweep. I'm like, we're going to off balance. We're going to grip. We're going to whatever. So I really enjoyed having Eric come in and teach that. And I want people to have like, not just my sweeps. My sweeps aren't great. Pranker's got great sweeps. Erman's got great sweeps. All these guys have great stuff. I want people to have, I'm going to hit you over the head with 85,000 sweeps this month. But I want you to come out of that month with the concept of it. And so I want...
Like one down really good and then the concept.
That's it. Yeah, that's what you need. Right? If you can get the concept of, for me, what helped my sweeps was learning the off balance. It helps a lot, I think. So if I can just get people... I'm just fucking rambling again. I'm sorry.
This is great.
I'm like, I've had 1.5 Mountain Dews. I don't do that, so I'm kind of in there. So, I like to do the same thing over and over. I will drill. I love doing the same warm up for a whole month straight. Great. I'm going to get so good at this triangle arm omoplata. I'm going to get so good at this arm pummeling. I'm going to get so good at this inside leg position pummeling for single leg X, whatever.
Those dumb washing machines we used to have to do.
Oh my God. Love those so much.
Oh my God.
It can help.
But I can do them. So we did them, last month?
Yeah.
And I mean, eyes shut. It just came back like nothing.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
And I think it helps to do shit just over and over and over. Yeah, it's kind of boring. And you can't do that all the time. But
perfect practice though.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you guys kind of build out like a year of this is roughly what we're going to like sweep month, like what you're going to do, or how do you guys go curriculum wise?
Well, in the past it's been a lot more organized. Now it has become a lot less organized, but we still have like, December's lapel hotness, October's leg locktober. We do sweeps, our spring cleaning, April sweeps. We did a whole month of flower sweeps one time, May flowers. That after a whole month of sweeps is a little much. It's a month for flower sweeps is probably a little much. So we didn't do that again, but I like to do that. Last year we did Houdini month, which is, Houdini's birthday is in, I can't remember. It was March, it was February, whatever. And we made a whole curriculum of just escapes for a whole month. And I loved that. And I just totally missed it this year. So in the past, I have like just written down like not even just the concentration, like every single specific technique. Pranker has what I would call an attention disorder.
No.
So he doesn't really, he won't really stick to that ever. And I can't always be there. And sometimes we've got other guys that are like, hey, you mind if I teach and show this? And we have so many just super knowledgeable people in the gym that I'm like, fuck yeah. When Garrett asked if he could teach some guillotine stuff, and he was real sheepish about it, he's like, do you think that maybe I could show some guillotine stuff? And I'm like, hell yes.
I don't think he sounded like that though.
Well,
he's terrifying.
Yeah, he's kind of terrifying. He's a sweet man though.
Yes,
so, and I'm like, dude, I wish you would. That'd be a fucking amazing.
Yeah.
And there are always going to be people that are just like, oh, that's just a purple belt teaching? What the hell? That's a purple belt that has done that guillotine to every black belt in the gym.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously every other, brown belt, purple belt, whatever. Like, if you can defend his guillotine, you can bitch about his guillotine.
Yep.
right?
Garrett's also a true leader in the gym.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean,
100%.
say
Yeah,
doing
I
the air
can't-
quotes thing here, just a purple belt, but
Yeah,
like he's a true leader.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so when I get a guy like Garrett, or if Drew wants to show his closed guard stuff that annoys everybody.
Yep.
Garrett and Drew are the two people I won't go into their guard. I'm comfortable with my passing. I'll go into Pranker's guard. Fine. I'll pass it. I mean, not like that easy. Not like I'm going to pass it real easy, but I'll work through it. I'll get past it eventually, maybe, or I'll get swept on my ass and look silly. But if I'm going into Garrett's guard or Drew's guard, I know something bad's going to happen. I'm just not going to do it.
Yeah.
I'm going to back out of there. Shout out to Josh McKinney. Last year did a podcast after Pan Am's. He's like, if you don't like the pass that you're trying to do, back out and start over. I have used that philosophy so damn many times since then. I am going to back out. I'm actually not even going to try and pass your guard. I'm going to grab your foot maybe. I'm not going into your guard. I'll pass a half guard. I'll come over here. I'll let you grab a spider grip, whatever. Don't go into the close guard of either one of those guys.
Yeah.
But when they want to start dropping knowledge on their guard, I will park it right next to everybody else and listen.
100%.
I'll listen to Drew teach something. I'll just be like, what the fuck? How is this guy? I didn't teach him that. That's the most intricate freaking explanation of closed guard I've ever seen in my life. This is great.
I'll tell you another one that has stepped up, and I'm thoroughly impressed. I feel like crap because I've been called out for 2 of the times he teaches. But Ian,
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
dude, and the way he teaches, very laid back, so knowledgeable, but still very direct to the point.
Mhm.
Love it. And he's not afraid to take questions. A lot of guys, when they first kind of start teaching, they're scared to take questions.
Yeah.
But
he was nervous when he first started teaching. He's like, do you think I could do this? And I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
He started teaching. I'm not supposed to talk about it. It's a secret. But they've got a 6 a.m. session where they work on footlocks almost exclusively. You guys didn't hear that here. That's a secret. Nobody knows about that.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, well, you're teaching that stuff, and that's really good stuff. And he's taught me every bit of that. Not every bit of it, but he's like showing me a lot of that stuff. And I'm just like, holy crap, this is really good stuff. This is really good footlock defense. Not even finishing footlocks, but just like the defenses and the way he can break that stuff down. And that all happened before, when he found out he had cancer the first time. He was like, man, I'm going to be down for so long. What can I do? I was like, you need to find some instructionals on something that you want to be better at. Find some instructionals that you like, and, make sure there's somebody that like you can pay attention to, not somebody that you're going to be just like, well, that's boring. I'm just going to watch some lawn mowing videos now. Something you can pay attention to. And when he was recovering from chemo, like he just did some deep dives, and he watched so many videos. And I was like, when you watch those, think about like, if you had to teach that, you would have to have all these steps. And he's got a notebook. It's actually at the gym right now. If you guys need to Xerox it, he left it there.
Yep.
I didn't make it past the first page.
I'll get my hands on it tomorrow then.
He,
a lot of pictures.
I didn't look at it. I got the first page, and he had TV shows to watch, and Ted Lasso wasn't crossed off. So I threw it on the table angrily and texted him that he needs to get his shit together and watch Ted Lasso. So I don't really know what's in there, other than I know he's always writing in there. I assume it's some cool stuff. But he did that deep dive, and like that notebook is a lot of stuff that like he wrote. I assume it's stuff that he wrote down during that time, and he's always adding to it. But he was kind of like, he seemed kind of nervous about teaching at first, and now he's gotten so good about it. I've had him teach several classes while I'm there, and I'm just parked with everybody else and just like, this is good stuff.
He's really starting to like come into his own as an instructor. Like,
Yeah.
Like, when did he start teaching Wednesdays? Well, when Pranker got hurt, he kind of took over
Yeah.
the Wednesdays. So what, a month ago?
Yeah, he volunteered right for that. He's like, dude, I'll do Wednesdays. And I was like, hell yes.
And the
please do.
first class was kind of rough. Like, you could tell he was nervous.
Finding his footing. And,
Yeah. And since then, like, I look forward to it. His Wednesday classes are great.
Yeah.
Like,
And I
super good.
still like Wednesday classes because it's a more old gym vibe. There's not a ton of us in there. It's 15 or so of us. It's half of a normal 45 Monday class.
Yeah.
So it's really nice that it's kind of a scaled back version of it. But
I'm obviously happy to see big classes. I'm happy to see everybody training, everybody working their ass off, and everybody does work their ass off, and I love it. But I love that. I love that vibe of just a small class, like, 5 or 6 of us, just hanging around saying, all the time.
Dude, I really
maybe doing
miss
some jujitsu.
my work schedule changing and missing Friday mornings because that was probably one of my favorite classes,
Yeah.
except for when you'd like just not let me tap and just put me out.
That was unintentional, and I didn't know. I thought you were fake snoring,
Yeah.
for the record. I did not think that was a real snore until a few minutes later. You're like,
I was totally fine.
my blunder.
It's
A nap's a nap.
yeah,
Yeah,
it was
yeah,
totally
yeah.
fine. It'd been a while since I'd been knocked out, so it was worth it. It was good.
You're actually only the second person I've put unconscious while demoing a technique.
Well, it was really that head and arm was real tight.
It's a really fun choke,
Yeah, it is.
and it looks cool, which to me is the most important part.
Yeah, it's that step over. Like you started on my right, and you hit mount, and I was like, "Oof, this is getting rough." And then you went over that left. I was like, "Oh man, okay, room's getting small. Oh shit."
Yeah,
and then
It's a half guard pass.
You okay? You okay? I was like, yeah, I've been totally fine. Yeah, here the whole time.
The more they commit to holding onto that half guard, the easier that pass is. And as long as you keep your head down, you get that little head and arm choke with the help of the lapel. Because lapels save lives, Colton.
Yeah.
Just so you know.
It's what I hear. Yeah.
I heard you brought tape with you. They brought their white belts. You ready for that?
I didn't bring. I do have tape in the car actually. Let's get into that a little bit. So
you joked with
I
Matt.
thought he was serious. I was like, fuck.
I joked with Matt and I was like, "Man, you made a podcast just to try and get a stripe? That's crazy." And the look, just the mortified look in his face, and I'm like, "Oh, too far."
I started sweating. Like I legit started, like my body temperature changed. I could feel it under my gi.
So you'll eventually learn that on top of having a sense of humor that can sometimes make people uneasy, I'm very seldom serious.
Mm-hmm.
And if I am serious, it's because something has gone very fucking wrong. So if I,
like when he yells at the young kids in class. He's
Yeah,
serious those days.
I'm trying my best to make my voice sound serious when that happens. I do not have an authoritative voice. I've been working on my yelling voice. I've literally worked dad voice with Justin before. And it's funny to me because I'll be like, hey, kids, circle up, kids. And I'll look at Justin and he goes, circle up. Most terrifying shit ever. I probably just woke up your kid. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's fine.
So, like, Justin will just go full dad voice and, like, we'll be hanging out. And I'll be like, hey, help me out with this dad voice. And he's like, you sound like a bitch. Well, I'm sorry. I don't actually have any kids. You know, I used to tell my cat to get off the counter, but they don't really get up on the counter.
They don't listen
anymore.
either.
Well, I mean, they don't do that anymore, so I don't have to.
Yeah.
You know, I don't have a good authoritative voice. I don't have, you know, I'm not an assertive person. That's actually going back to my origin story here. I had a shitty relationship, basically because I was a young pussy. Yeah, pussy's probably the right word. I was a nerd, and this very attractive older woman was into me, and I was in a relationship with her, and it was very, very parallel to Colton's situation where she was a complete fucking psychopath, manipulative, evil, abusive, horrible person. And
builds character.
I think she's evolved as a person now, just because, you know, her next person was a dick to her the way she was a dick to me, and she called me and told me about it.
That's karma.
Felt great. But so, like, I came out of that relationship useless. She, you know, I at least had the satchel to run away, and run away I did. But then I just started drinking, and then drinking. And if I wasn't drinking, I was thinking about drinking. And I drank a lot. And I drank a lot. And I was up around 400 pounds. And I'd met a friend at a bar, Eric. He was actually a bouncer at the bar. So he was always sober, and I was talking to him. And if you talk to him, you would think he was just the biggest, dumbest fucking meathead ever. He was an English major in college, wanted to be a teacher. He just decided to work on his farm and instead. But he is just a meathead of a man. And he was like, you got to quit letting people be dicks to you all the time. He's like, I'm going to try not to do my Eric voice because it will not do him justice. But he's got a real bassy voice, and he's a terrifying man. He's like, dude, fuck that shit. You need to grow some balls, you know. And so I didn't quite overcorrect as much as he probably would have liked. But he's the one that got me interested in MMA. He took me to a friend's house, and we watched an MMA card. It was when Joe Stevenson fought Yves Edwards. like one of the bloodiest fights in UFC history. And he's like, see, you could do that. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to do that. But we had some
Like,
friends.
blood's gross. Probably
Yeah,
not.
We had some friends that were fighters at the time. They all, they lived in Nevada, but they drove down to Springfield Fight Club and trained, and they were great fighters. And I would watch them fight, and I would go hang out with them and watch them train. And my buddy Colby would come along too. And him and Eric were both like, you need to start training, doing some MMA. And I went and bought some gear, and I'm like, all right, cool. I turned one room of my house into a gym and bought gloves and headgear. And, as I said earlier, I'm not a violent person. I hate violence. Never been a physical person. It took Eric, this is fucking embarrassing. It took my friend Eric 3 months of grabbing my gloved hand and punching it into his own head just to get me comfortable with feeling my fist hitting something. And like, he was so patient with it. Like, he could have just been like, what the fuck? You're a fucking idiot. Instead, he was just like, dude, that's what it's like. It's fine. And he had been like an MMA fighter, like back when it was, not weight classes and you're not wearing gloves. And he's like, yeah, I broke this hand 4 times, broke this hand. I'm like, why? Why would you do that? And so him and Colby are the ones that got me to start training. My old coach started an MMA program. And he's like, we're going down. It was November of 2006. He finally got me in there. And the real turning point that got me to agree to actually going was I was sitting in my house, probably pee pants drunk or near there, and I was eating Burger King. Burger King. You ever eaten Burger King?
A couple times.
Brother,
Yeah,
ew.
a couple times.
Pretty low point in your life.
That is not fucking food.
No, it's not.
And I was sitting there and I'm just like, why am I eating this? This isn't even good. This is absolutely horrible. I'm ruining my life. I'm wearing a 4X shirt and it's tight. Like, this is not good. So I agreed to start training, and I went, there wasn't as much, I'm not going to say there wasn't as much information on dieting. I wasn't as good at finding information on dieting. So I was just like, well, fat's bad and carbs are bad. Lean protein all day, every day. Let's go. And I got down to like 320 pounds just doing that. Dropped 80 pounds in my first 6 months of training. So we started with MMA. Ryan beat my ass. It was great. I did much better with the striking than with the grappling. I told you already, I was terrible at grappling. I still am terrible at grappling. The striking I picked up. Striking's easy. I've got long-ass arms, long-ass legs. I can punch and kick you and not let you touch me. If you touch me, I can clinch and just keep kneeing you. That's great. Kickboxing kicks ass.
Yeah, and you can still kick I can hold my hand up over my head at 6'6". You can still kick it.
Yeah, I can't kick it with much power anymore. I don't quite have that kind of flexibility, but I can get it up there. So I picked that stuff up real well.
Hold on. We're not just going to skip over that like you didn't just say that.
What? Kick the ceiling?
Yeah, that's very impressive.
I bet you could do it.
If
I picked him up,
there,
if we picked him up there,
pick
he
you up
probably
like
could.
Titanic.
don't do that. Don't give me fucking false
King of the
hope.
world. So,
I could kick the ceiling if you picked me up and turned me upside down, maybe.
Or just go upstairs and kick a hole through it.
Yeah. That's fucking
so
crazy.
I competed in the kickboxing, and I wasn't horrible at it. I wasn't a world beater, but I did okay. And I just don't like getting fucking in the head. I don't like hitting people. I had 5 fights. I never once made a fist in any fight. I'm punching kind of open-handed. The only reason I'm punching is so that I can grab a clinch and start kneeing. That's all I cared about. So I really gravitated towards the jiu-jitsu just because I enjoyed it much more, but I was fucking terrible at it. So I just kept at it, and I was like, I kind of just want to do this. I don't really want to do the kickboxing. I really want to just grapple. I want to figure this stuff out. But when I started, I bought into you don't use any muscle. It's all leverage. And I'm like, well, fuck. These guys are all really good at leverage. Why can't I do anything? Every one of those sons of bitches is just going freaking ham and trying to kill each other and making it like a freaking powerlifting competition. I didn't know that. I was just like, man, these guys are so much better than me. And I was probably 3 or 4 years in before I'm like, wait a minute. These guys are all so tired because they are using muscle. Wait a minute.
But then you see like Eric.
Yeah.
Who everything is so.
If he's using muscle, it's isometric muscle, right? He's going to hold you there, but he's holding you there with leverage and
he's
whatever.
extremely graceful.
It just looks effortless.
Yeah, absolutely. But he understands jiu-jitsu, and I feel like I didn't really understand jiu-jitsu until, this is fucking embarrassing, like brown belt. Like when I was a white belt and blue belt, I was a purple belt. I never learned how to pull guard because I didn't want anybody in my guard. Like my guard is so terrible, people would just pass it. Like I went to Wichita and I told Jake Smith, one of the black belts at Fox's, and I said, hey, I need you to give me a private on open guard, but I want you to teach it like I'm a 5-year-old who's seeing this for the first time because I just don't get it. I just didn't understand it. And I don't know why. Like, I'm just the biggest dumbass. Closed guard, fine, whatever, I got that. Open guard didn't make any sense to me. And that was the biggest thing he taught me, which Pranker yelled at me hundreds of times after that was get your hands full. Get some grips.
Mm-hmm.
Make points of contact. 3 points of contact's great. 4 points is better. Well, I'm sitting here with no points of contact, and they're just stepping right past my guard like I'm a fucking idiot. I mean, because I was an idiot, but I just didn't get it. And up until that point, I had started every roll in bottom side control because I had such a hard time with my first year of jiu-jitsu getting out of side control. I'm like, well, I'm going to start every roll bottom side control. Every single roll. And then after that private, I started every roll open guard. I'm like, I want to start here in open guard. And I've done that. I still do that.
Yep.
To this day, every roll. And it's, I was at summer camp 2 years ago and I'm rolling with Andre. He's like, why are you starting here in guard? You're not going to win. And I said, Andre, I'm not going to win anyway, but I'm trying to work on my guard because it's horrible. I'm forcing myself to work
I'm
here.
going to conserve some energy sitting here so I don't get choke tired.
Right. So he was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. And since then I have, I've started every roll with him on my butt. At the winter camp in Florida last year, I was rolling with Andre and I hit a sweep, put him on his butt. And I was like, oh my God, it finally happened. Yes. As I tried to come up to finish the sweep, to get my position, he came right back out and just face planted me into the mat. And I was like, oh, son of a bitch. I was so close. I was so close to actually sweeping him. Or he was being really nice, which is probably more so the case. But, I was like, all right, well, maybe I've kind of fixed this fucking guard. I don't know. But I feel like I understand it more now, at least. So I'm just going to keep doing it and hope that it does keep getting better. And, I like to do a bunch of stupid shit sometimes.
That's my favorite part is when you just kind of go down your stupid shit rabbit holes. You're like, all right, let's try this. I'm going to invert and we'll just see what happens.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you can't have fun with jiu-jitsu, why are you doing jiu-jitsu? If you're worried about losing every roll,
yeah.
First of all, you're going to be a dick and nobody's going to enjoy rolling with you. But also, you're not going to get any better. And there are so many people that every roll, I got to win this roll. I got to win this roll. Like, do you want me to go over to the wall and give you one of those medals? Is that what you're going for?
Yeah.
You're not going to win anything for this other than, you're going to die tired, I guess. I don't know. Have fun with it. If you're not having fun, what's the point?
Yep.
Then I'm going to be sore and I'm going to be tired. I'm going to be burned out. I'm going to be pissed off. I'm going to be like, jiu-jitsu's fucking stupid. I'm going to sit on my couch and drink beer instead.
So teach me, because you are probably one of my, and I don't roll with you very often. I don't know your and Pranker's deal with how often you roll. I try to once every month or every other month try to roll with one of you guys.
Uh-huh.
How do you temper your rolls? Because every time I roll with you, I feel like I get a consistent thing from you, but you temper it to everybody differently.
Man,
So as a big guy, these guys here will probably attest, I'm trying to learn how to temper my rolls, and maybe I just need a little bit of help learning it because I always find myself going back to Matt will either say, well, you went a little too hard, or, well, I need a little bit more resistance, just finding somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, I wish I had a good answer for that. I have no
God
clue.
dang it.
So my thing is, I don't roll hard. I never have.
Yeah.
I joke that I have 2 hard rolls a year, and that's honestly about on par. I don't know why I can't turn it up. Sometimes Pranker and I will go, we'll get some pull harder rounds in and we'll just beat the shit out of each other. And it's absolutely fun. I don't have it in me. Even when I compete, I don't have that switch. That's probably why I'm so terrible as a competitor. I don't have that aggressive switch. I want to have fun. I want to do shenanigans. I want to see what you're doing almost, I mean, to a detriment sometimes, because I'll be rolling with somebody and I'll kind of like, I'll see some fancy grip and I'll just kind of let them pass because I want to see where this is going. And then I'm like, oh shit, wait, no, I better tap. This is bad. I'm actually going to die right now, you know, but I just want to roll. I try and match intensity, you know, but if somebody's being a spazzy asshole, instead of matching intensity, I'm going to tie you up with your clothes because that's safe to me. Like it feels comfortable to me.
Is that why you always tie me up with my clothes?
Yeah, because I'm scared.
Spazzy.
That's a thing that I started doing when Seth was a white belt. Seth, who is, you know, he's like 185 now. When Seth was a white belt, he was like 135. You know, as an adult male, Seth competed at 125 pounds in MMA once. Usually 135, but he competed at 125. He almost died physically. I mean, he looked like a zombie, but he made it. He was fast. He was a very fast guy.
Super fast.
He would roll. The reason Seth didn't ever like to wear a gi until the past couple of years was his game was he's going to spin around like a Tasmanian devil with no direction. If he had a gi, you could grab his collar and hold him, and he couldn't do that. He hated it. So that's when I learned, like, all right, if somebody's faster than me, I've got all these handles. I'm going to hold them. And I didn't know what I was going to do with the handles, but I knew I could hold them there. And then the first real, I mean, aside from, you know, like Bravo chokes and, you know, stuff like that I love. My first real lapel shenanigan was when Andre taught what I call the taint flosser, and he calls it single leg lapel sweep, whatever.
Love the taint flosser.
It's one of my favorite sweeps in the world. It's just a half guard sweep. Lapel goes between the legs. Elevate sweep. It's great. That was my first taste of lapel shenanigans. And in so many of those rolls where it was just me and Pranker rolling for an hour, I would be like, well, how can I tie you up with this? I'm going to tie your leg up here. I'm going to do this here. And I kind of just really enjoyed kind of having that control with it. And one day in one of our morning classes, TJ Britton, who is a sweet man and a freak athlete, he wrapped my lapel around my arm and held it there. I was like, well, this sucks. I don't like that. I can't move my arm. And he's like, oh, yeah, here's how I did that. But all you have to do is just spin your arm out and you get out of it. And I was like, well, I don't want people to spin their arm out. And then I was just thinking of it like, you know, from the perspective of like a boat knot. Well, if I want it to tighten instead of loosen, I loop inside here. So that's how I started doing the handcuff. When I do that grip and I have your hand just tied up in your lapel, I basically just stole that from TJ. Perfected it. All rights reserved. Michael Wood, LLC. That's not a real LLC. You guys can buy that. But like, I just love that. Like, I learned little stuff like that. And I'm just like, this is great. I love this stuff. But anyway, back to these stripes that Walker made this podcast for.
Yeah.
So,
well, so can you encompass stripes and like your promotion? Because every place does it different.
So let me give you a little more background here.
Okay.
I told you I was a white belt for 6 years. I trained for, like, we did mostly no-gi. It was MMA, submission wrestling. Like, my coach didn't even have a jiu-jitsu rank when I first started. And I didn't care. He didn't care. Like, I just want to roll. I want to try and figure this shit out. After about 3 years of training, my coach is like, you need to test for your blue belt. My black belt's going to come on, you know, this date. And here is your 3-page list of every technique that you have to know for a black belt or for a blue belt. And me and my buddy Jason and Seth were all like, all right, cool. And I still have it at the gym in a notebook with all of my notes on it, written on it, like what the techniques were and everything. And so the day comes for that test, and the black belt is stuck in Wichita, car trouble. Couldn't make it. So I did all the stuff. He just told my coach to have me go through all that stuff, and if I did a good job, give me a green belt. Which at the time, that coach was under Renato Tavares, who was doing adult green belts at the time. So me and Seth and my friend Jason were green belts, which is exciting, which is a children's belt.
Super kids belt.
Yeah, basically. So
so basically a 2-stripe white belt?
Yeah, never had a single stripe on a white belt. I went straight to this green belt, and that green belt is hanging up in the gym still, right by the changing room. But I got that green belt, and then we had gotten under another black belt, you know, a couple of years later, and he, you know, I'd had a little bit of time off, and, you know, I took probably 6 months off of jiu-jitsu just to focus on kickboxing, and then another 6 months off after my father passed away. And, you know, so I had some breaks. So it wasn't like 6 months of, you know, or 6 years of just hard training at it. But probably around 2010-ish, our second black belt was like, why are you wearing that green belt? That's a kid's belt. He's like, Coach, you got any white belts? He gave me a no stripe white belt. And then he proceeded to promote everyone in the room with, you know, like gave him some of them belts, some of them stripes. And then he just looked at me with my no stripe white belt and said, not today, my friend, and walked away. I mean, that guy wasn't really a very encouraging black belt. He would say things like, you need to be better, or you know very good, stuff like that. He said that stuff to Seth too, so that made me feel a little better because Seth was actually really good at jiu-jitsu. And then 2012, when I met Andre, is when me and Seth and Mike all got our blue belts. So that was 6 years of, I mean, like, just no stripes, no nothing. Like, so I never really came up thinking like I gave a shit about stripes. On my blue belt, I ended up getting 5 stripes because stripes had fallen off and Fox just kept giving me stripes. And I'm like, yeah, I've actually already got 4. He's like, well, you're getting 5 now. You know, I never cared. So I often forget that people use that as like a marker to track their progress, right? But when I say something to you like, holy shit, Walker, that was growing up pressure. To me, that's like a stripe. That's a big fucking deal. Like, you're smashing me into the mat and it sucks. So, you know, like,
in my mind, when you say something like, I mean, it's a compliment for sure, but then there's the other part of me that's like, you could huck me off of you at any fucking time you chose to.
I'm going to tell you a secret. I was trying.
No, I don't buy that.
If I had to go to half guard to get out of that.
I don't remember.
That's how I had to get out of your side control because I could not. You had me pinned. You were like a real wrestler, right? But like, you know, to me, like, I should give more of a shit about belts because people need those to see their progress. And the stripes, I mean, I'm a forgetful son of a bitch anyway. And like, I'm very fortunate that our kids class, like, they don't care either because I will forget to promote them for like a year. I've got gray and white belts, which is a belt that they should have after a year of training that have been training like 3 years. And I'm like, oh shit, I better give them that belt. Like, I need to order a shitload of belts and just have those on hand, you know, and I forget stripes and I'll be like, oh, I should do stripes. Oh, it's no gi. They didn't bring their gis. Like, I'm just absolutely horrible at it. But like, I see the progress that people are making and, you know, I'll let you know if I think you're getting worse. I don't really have that filter. So I'll let you know if you got some shit that's real bad.
Oh, there's days where I definitely feel like I'm getting worse.
But that's normal though. That's part of the grind. See what I did there?
Thank you.
But that's part of the grind. Like, if you didn't ever get that part where you sucked, then like, you're not going to enjoy being on top as much. Like,
I think it comes with the expectation of getting better, and then you think you're to a new place. This happened with me and Christian, one of the newer guys, one of the Hispanic kids.
That kid's a savage.
So he showed up for the first month or so. We'd roll here and there, and I handled him pretty easily. And then he wrecked my shit like a couple weeks ago.
Him and Frank's cousin Michael. Mm-hmm. Good God. I rolled with Michael the other day. I was like, what the hell? You've been training like 3 months.
Yeah.
Why are you this good? This is ridiculous.
All I heard Matt say was, fucking arm, my fucking arm.
Oh,
I think the kid broke my arm.
He arm barred the fuck out of me.
Man, these kids
twice in a round.
But some people, like, they don't ever have that, you know, they don't appreciate that kind of struggle coming out. Like, Drew has never been shitty at jiu-jitsu. He's been training 3 years and he's already a purple belt.
That's crazy.
He's never had like that low. He lost that super fight against Mason Stritzel, who is a absolute
He's a freak.
animal. He's,
he's a freak.
18 years old and has like 500 comp wins, like, and he can implement a game plan. Like, Drew and I watched his K-Guard instructional. We're just like, this is amazing. I love this. We watched a lot of his matches before their match, and this kid is, I mean, he's toying with black belts. I watched him break a black belt's foot. I watched him do a flying reverse 180 arm bar on a very good brown belt. What the hell? And so Drew does a super fight against him and loses. And it really got in his head. He's like, I haven't lost a match in 2 years. I'm just like, Drew, you're 3 years in. You should have lost so many fucking matches by now. I mean, by the time I was a purple belt, I had won 1 match. I won 1 match at blue belt. That's it. None at white belt. None at purple belt. Didn't compete at brown belt. It was rough. I know what sucking's all about. I've never been good at anything in my life, so that's probably why I'm not competitive, because I've never tasted that, like, I mean, aside from, having some fun wins in kickboxing, like, I've never really tasted that success of, like, hell yeah, I'm so good at this. And I've just never really had that drive. And people like Drew, who have that drive but also that ability, like, I feel like they're kind of missing out on part of the journey with, getting your butt kicked. Not to say he hasn't had his butt kicked. Like, he has tough rounds in the gym, and he goes straight for the hardest rounds. But, like, I think you're almost doing yourself a disservice if you get too good too fast, So
Don't have to worry about that with you, pal.
Thanks. That's no shit, though.
But yeah, I mean, it's part of the struggle. Like, the valleys make you appreciate the peaks, and you're going to start setting the world on fire sometimes, and then you're going to have a day.
No, I won't.
You're just gonna get shit wrecked for a month.
You're going to get, like, a game that you really like, and you're going to spam it on everybody. If you'll notice, I do that. I'll get something that I like, and I'm just going to keep spamming it. I really enjoy it. I'm going to evolve this. I'm going to try and make it better. I'm going to see what the defenses are. I'm just going to try it. I do that stupid-ass idiot choke on everybody.
Yep.
That's how I got my last win at black belt. I screwed up. I thought this guy was going to pull guard. He double-legged me and went right to mount. I already had his lapel out, so I just wrapped it around his neck. I'm like, all right, I'm just going to do this stupid idiot choke. I'm either going to get my arm broken or I'm going to get this choke. I got the choke. That's because I do that all the time in the gym, because I am, in fact, an idiot. And it's not, I don't call it the idiot choke because, like, oh, if it works on you, you're an idiot. Because I tell people, don't leave your fucking arm out like an idiot. That's how you get the choke. You leave your arm out like an idiot. It's stupid, right? But I just spam that. Like, I find something that I like, and I just keep doing it over and over and over. And you're going to get something like that, and you're going to feel so good about it, and you're going to be like, I got this shit figured out.
Yeah, I wonder when that's going to happen.
And then you're going to roll with somebody that has no business beating you, and they're going to shut it down, and you're going to be like, I am the biggest dumbass in the history of jiu-jitsu. I hate jiu-jitsu. Jiu-jitsu isn't real. I'm going to go start training power slap. Whatever, And so it's going to happen. It's going to be peaks and valleys. It's almost like it's almost like you're bipolar sometimes, because, I mean, you're going to have some high highs and you're going to have some low lows. But if you can not let those lows, discourage you, piss you off, whatever, if you can just put your nose down and keep going through that, that's how you grow, I think.
Well, I think that's what makes jiu-jitsu so interesting, at least to me, is there's a lot of things about jiu-jitsu that make it interesting to me. Like, initially, it was the illusion that most men have, right, that they're somewhat physically capable or useful in a fight. And then you go to a jiu-jitsu gym and you get just wrecked by somebody who visually, it doesn't make sense.
By a 63-year-old Randy.
A 63-year-old man holds you down and breaks your arm off of your body.
And doesn't break a sweat trying to do it, and you're like, this doesn't make sense. I want that,
with
right?
a smile on his face the whole time. And he's like, hey, what
trying to tell you, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay.
What you should do here is try and get on your side and shrimp. That's what I would do. Oh, okay, thank you.
So that is a thing that is attractive about jiu-jitsu. And then the same thing, during the journey, it's the same thing continues to happen. Like, when does it stop happening? And I think the answer is really never.
Yeah.
Because I don't think, from what I'm learning about jiu-jitsu, is that, and I talked about this in, I think, our first podcast, like, you would consider, like, Gordon Ryan or Roger Gracie or some of the guys that have been the best competitors ever to be, like, as good as you can get, let's say. Mm-hmm. Like, I think most people would think that, right?
Right.
But Roger Gracie or Gordon Ryan will be probably better at jiu-jitsu in terms of an understanding of jiu-jitsu long after their body is able to keep up with their knowledge.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, Gordon Ryan at 70 would be better at jiu-jitsu than he is at 30, but his body can't keep up with his
Yeah.
knowledge.
And I think that's probably where John Danaher is now. He's got
Yeah, there you go.
fake hips and fake knees and whatever. He can barely walk, but he's widely regarded as the greatest jiu-jitsu instructor in history.
Right.
You know,
I think it's just because he wears a rash guard every day.
well, that's pretty good.
And the fanny pack. Coupled with a fanny pack, it's a lethal combo.
If you haven't seen, that's his normal walk around.
If I wasn't so fat, I would be wearing rash guards and fanny packs everywhere too. But, you know, fanny pack, you know, the belly kind of hangs over, and, you know, I got this love handles here. And I can't do the rash guard in public very well. I barely like doing rash guard in the gym. I'm just like, man, these guys looking at my titties. What's going on here?
I always look at them. Full disclosure.
Hell yeah, brother. So,
Sultan's weird.
I have an eye for tits. I can't help it.
fun fact, I don't know if it's actually true at all, but I had heard for years that when Roger Gracie moved to England, he only had blue belts to train with, and he attributed most of his improvement to just getting to train on blue belts all the time, because it's, you know, it's like a grappling dummy that could kill you if you messed up too bad. You know, that's don't tell Erman. I don't think Erman will listen to this, but don't tell Erman. But I used to view him that way when he was a white belt. I'm like, man, if I mess up, he could kick my ass, but I really like that I can just do whatever I want on this guy and kind of get some good reps. It's not the case anymore because he, you know, is good at jiu-jitsu now.
And he takes supplements. He eats a lot of chicken.
He had low testosterone.
Yeah.
And now he does not.
Yeah.
But he, you know, when he moved away to Kansas City, he went to train at BJJ, and there's not a soft motherfucker that's coming to that gym.
No.
Erman came back a different man, and he is a real pain in the ass now. Unless you're a blue belt for whatever reason, those seem to be his kryptonite. You can, you know, he'll wreck a purple belt, then a day one blue belt will just arm bar him, and he'll, you know, get super pissed off for about 18 seconds, and then he's right back along his way, back to trying whatever crazy mean chokes he can muster. But I used to really enjoy those rolls with him back in the day before he got good, before he could kill me.
But see, this is really pretty much just me bragging on you session, because I appreciate, because I'm fairly competitive in most things I do, but I don't have that killer drive at jiu-jitsu. I really enjoy it. I really like the teaching aspect and helping my friends. So I'm much like you. I'm like, I don't really have it. I worked last week with Joe, and Joe loves to compete. And he's like, you can compete? You should. You're a big guy. You should. I was like, not in me, bro. But I appreciate that because it's a gym that doesn't push you to compete.
Yeah.
There's a lot of gyms around, KC being one of them, that if you go there, you're going to be a competitor.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, they crank out some absolute stallions. It's
And
great.
we have a good culture that we have comp class on Mondays. There's a lot of guys that go compete, and it's great. It's different vibe than what it's always been, but it's not in me.
We've also got a bunch of guys in comp class that never compete and probably never will compete.
Yeah.
You know, it's great. And I'm just glad that we can kind of facilitate that. And when we first started comp class, it was just a clone of the BJJ comp class that, you know, Erman had done. And, you know, he talked to Bircher and he's like, oh yeah, go ahead. And, you know, it was just a clone of that. And we've kind of evolved it as we've gone in, you know, trying to add some things. And I ask other people about their comp classes and things like that. And I don't do it so that people will compete. I just want them to have, you know, there's nothing worse than if you only do chill rolls, right? And then you have to go against some spazzy asshole, whether it be, you know, just at an open mat or in a competition or in the street, whatever. And you've never dealt with something at that high a pace, and you're just like, oh crap, and you're overwhelmed and you freak out and, you know, you get hurt or something. Yeah. I had a competition where, I went against this spazzy, smelly guy. Yeah, I think his name was Dale. Not a good name, right? It's a terrible name.
Yeah, that was red flag number one.
I hope that doesn't offend anybody with relatives named Dale. So this guy, I slap bump, he gets an arm bar and just spaz kills. Pop my arm like I didn't get to train for a month, and I was like, well, that was a different speed that I wasn't quite used to. And like since then, I've just been thinking, you know, I've always had it in my head like, you got to be ready for that shit. That's how people are going to be. Yeah, you're full of nervous energy. You're scared. Your opponent's also full of nervous energy. They're going to be unpredictable. They want to win at whatever cost. They want to, you know, ice you, whatever. I don't know. You know,
Yeah.
I'm not saying they all want to hurt you, It's a horrible thing. You know, they want to hurt your ego for sure.
Yep.
But like, you got to be ready for that. So that's why I like to have comp class, just because it's that pace, it's that speed. But also then you get to isolate things under pressure.
Mm-hmm.
We do, 11 1-minute rounds of grip fighting. You just get to isolate grip fighting. Otherwise, you don't get to grip fight unless you start a match standing. Then how long are you standing? 15 seconds, 20 seconds?
Yeah.
And then the grip fighting's over, and then you're on the ground hugging. So we can isolate that in comp class, and we can isolate that under full pressure, under full intensity. And, pressure testing, I don't know what you would call it, but get used to that level. And then, if you do, God forbid, you get in an altercation somewhere, then you're not going to freak out about it. People try to make a big distinction between sport jiu-jitsu and self-defense jiu-jitsu. And I think really the people that really kind of cling to that differentiation are people who have just never really done sport jiu-jitsu. Like, I understand that I'm not going to invert and grab your leg in a street fight because you'll stomp my face and turn it into a puddle.
Mm-hmm.
I think pretty much every competitor knows that. And I try to always differentiate. Like, if I'm showing something like, hey, in a street fight, in a cage fight, don't do this. They're going to punch you in the face. In a jiu-jitsu, we're playing within these grappling rules, fine, whatever. So if I'm doing something that's just self-defense or just sport, like I try to, differentiate. But at the end of the day, if you jump a competitive blue belt in the street, he's going to beat the shit out of you.
Oh, yeah.
Unless you stab him or something, like sport jiu-jitsu, self-defense jiu-jitsu, whatever. It's jiu-jitsu. It's grappling.
Yep.
If you do enough grappling, you're going to understand, control somebody. You're going to understand off balance. You're going to understand positioning. You may not be thinking about them having a prison shank and getting you in the guts as much, but if you can pin them down and control their hands, they can't do it. So I've never really enjoyed the argument of sport versus self-defense jiu-jitsu for that. Like, it's all jiu-jitsu. We're going to compete, and I think a comp class is probably about as close to a self-defense jiu-jitsu as you can get, in this area anyway.
Now, I will say one thing for us, me and Matt, we'll do something sometimes, and it's tough for me because I know that, like, when I do stuff, it's been about the past 6-8 months that I've told you, I finally kind of let go of the cop thing because I have to teach defensive tactics 8 or 12 times a year. So I'm teaching it and constantly thinking about, where's your gun? Here's this, da-da-da-da. So it's hard to turn that off sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
But in the past 6 or 8 months, I have just been like, I'm going to have fun. I come in here, I don't care where my gun would be, and I just have fun, and it's been such a freeing experience.
Yeah.
But then I think it was a couple weeks ago we did something, and I don't even remember what it was, but it was something that we would normally do as far as like normal defensive tactic stuff, and he did it, and I was like, hey, just think about, I never say this anymore, but think about where your gun would be in this.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, I've gotten away from that defensive fight style and just turned into, man, it's fun.
Seth used to be really cognizant of that. Every time he would roll, he'd be like, no, my gun would be on this hip.
Yeah.
He would always, and I'm like, well, okay. I would have never thought of that. Like, oh yeah, I can't roll this way because that would hurt because this is here. Oh, this would give access here. No, that's kind of shit that I would never think of. Like, I've done one firearm retention class ever.
Yeah, but I think once you're used to it and you're just going, I mean,
yeah.
I broke the mat, said I got to teach it tomorrow, and like I threw a gun on and just did a little bit. I'm like, I can make it work with or without. Yeah, it's something to think about, but
yeah,
you take any dude that's a blue belt, and he's gonna shit wreck somebody else out on the street.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't encourage anybody to ever fight ever. Right? I'm a 43-year-old man. I haven't been. I mean, aside from when I was a kid, I've never been in a street fight. Thank God.
God, you would shit wreck somebody in a street fight, though.
I have used my words to get out of a lot of fights. I came close one time. It was after a fight that I'd been training for, so I'd been like 6 months, no booze, and I went to a bar with a friend, and some guy had come up and tried to fight me. And I was, like 2 beers in. I'm just like, yeah, no. See you later, buddy. Just some, angry redneck, small town stuff. And after the bar closes, we go outside, and he calls my friend the N-word. And by that time, I'd had a couple of whiskeys also. And I let that guy know how I felt about it. And I was like, hey, you wanted to fight earlier. Now you got it. Let's go. It's happening right now. Let's go. And he packed up and left really fucking fast. Afterwards, I was like, why did I do that? I shouldn't have done that. That was bad. And, I was pretty hindsight, like, within 1 minute, I was really glad that he did that because I was like, what the hell was I thinking? That was stupid. I shouldn't have done that. But I was just really mad at the time. I'm like, hey, you don't talk to people like that. That's not cool. And that's probably the closest I've ever been because I can use my words like a grown-up. And I try to tell people that all the time. I'm like, you don't have to fight if you can use your words.
Yep.
Also, I don't want to fight now. Everyone's got a freaking prison shank or a high point or whatever. I just assume everybody in the street has a high point.
They do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See?
That is an accurate assumption.
Yeah.
Yeah. See?
Especially kids from the ages of like 17 to 28.
Yeah. You get that Cerakote with the $100 bills on it. Get the $200 Cerakote on the $100 high point.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Maybe a big Monster M on one of them.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
All right. So I know you said you had some notes and you looked at your phone. What else you want to wrap us up with? Because as you know, we have a signature kind of question. Then we'll let the guys get to their question.
Let me see here. I've got a lot of messages here.
Oh, yeah. You're an important guy.
This has been a fascinating conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, I got my Gubber Guard details here if you want that too.
So do you guys have questions before we get to our signature question?
I think I had a statement.
Okay.
You talk to guys from the gym that have been around a little bit longer, and they talk about AForce has, everybody's partial to their own gym. I'm sure all of the gyms around have great jiu-jitsu.
Mm-hmm.
But the guys that have been at our gym for a while and traveled around, they say that like we have what they believe is just really good jiu-jitsu. They typically travel around, go to another gym, and they fare fairly well, it sounds like.
Sure.
And early on in this conversation, I feel like I identified the reason. I mean, obviously it's the coaching and the culture. I mean, that's what creates the environment that we have.
Mm-hmm.
But it's two completely different styles of coaching. Like you talked about how you try to dumb everything down to like a really kind of the way I envisioned it or would have described it was just like a meat and taters level of instruction, like basics.
Yeah.
And then Pranker will go off, get off in the weeds, 100 steps to the thing that you showed us in 3 steps, right?
Right.
And he'll get into some way intricate details.
Uh-huh.
So you got the guys that I can't follow Pranker sometimes. I need that meat and taters level of instruction, like
Me too.
really simple. Understand the technique at a
Put
kind of
hand
a
here. Get
crude
heavy.
level, right?
Right.
Like a crude level.
Yeah.
And then once I'm there, then, maybe Pranker's level of instruction where he can show the intricate details would make more sense to me.
Right.
So you get both styles of instruction, under one roof. Like
Mm-hmm.
you may get everybody up to speed and then Pranker polishes it somehow or something like that.
One of my favorite things in the world is when Pranker and I are both there, because I can teach something. I like to think of it like I'm showing you how to get a stick kind of pointy. I'm going to break it and I'm going to make it pointy, and you can kind of poke something. And then Pranker will come in and he's going to teach you how to whittle that down into a spear tip, and now you're going to go. I don't know. You do the stick poke toads. Is that a thing? I don't know.
Yeah.
Make some shish kebabs, whatever the fuck you're doing. Right. So I love having, and I like having more than one perspective too, because I'm not always going to do things the way that Pranker does. For so many years, I did just big guy jiu-jitsu, and Pranker did little guy jiu-jitsu, which is hilarious because he's 6'3" and 220, but he's a little man. He's a little Mike, right? He does little guy jiu-jitsu, and he's never thought of it as a big guy jiu-jitsu, little guy jiu-jitsu, whatever. And I always like having his point of view with things, because like my way is not always the right way. And there are so many things that he's great at that I'm just okay at, and vice versa. So I like to pretend that there are some things that I'm better at than Pranker. You guys just let me have that, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Thank you. Yeah.
Smoking meats.
Yeah. He did say that my brisket was the best meat he's ever tasted in his life. No big deal.
And he's tasted a lot of meat.
Well, that's inappropriate.
I mean, he eats meat, I think, a lot.
So, but I really do love having, I like when we have the chance to get multiple point of views. Like the first time we did the Q&A and we had 3 black belts there, we had me and Erman and Pranker there. And every time someone asked a question, they could potentially get 3 answers. And honestly, the best feeling to me was when I answer a question and Cranker's like,
I agree.
yeah, exactly that. I don't have anything to add. And I'm just like, holy shit. Did I just do something right? Am I a real black belt? Did that just happen? So I absolutely love that. And I'm glad that we have that, we have that ability in the gym. And I'm glad that people aren't afraid to learn from lower belts. Like, I know that Carlos is like a 1-stripe blue belt, but I know that he can teach a single leg at a black belt level. And I've seen him, roll with an ADCC medalist and single leg him. And that medalist was like, hey, show me that takedown. He's not afraid to learn from a lower belt. Why would any of us be afraid to learn from a lower belt? Fuck the belts. Let's get good at jiu-jitsu. Somebody's always going to have something better than you have. Right?
Yeah,
there are white belts that can teach you stuff out there.
100%.
It's not going to feel good. You're going to be like, I fucking suck. But it's great. I'm gonna check my notes here and make sure I got to all your points here.
That's one of the things that I tell people that I love so much about jiu-jitsu.
See how he rocks back and forth like a special kid?
Well, I'm spinning, trying to look.
Because he
I didn't want
turns.
to move the mic, so
To be
just
fair,
where I'm at.
Colton is a very special boy.
He is super special.
But
Our special kid.
one of the things that I like so much is that I tell people there is no like pinnacle. Like, everybody's better at something than somebody else. Like, there's always room for you to learn.
Absolutely. And that's my goal, is that people do get better gradually. Like, if you're never getting better, I'm not doing my job, but you're not going to enjoy it. You're not going to see a little improvement. And I tell people, like, don't compare yourself to people, right? Compare yourself to past you. Don't compare yourself to somebody else. If I compared myself to Drew, I would be pissed. I would just be like, fuck that. This is stupid. But if I compare myself to the dumb shit that I was doing just a year ago and that I've now fixed and tightened up, hey, that's great. And I think that I've grown more in the however many years I've been a black belt than all the years before that. And I think part of that is just I kind of had learned how to learn more. But also, like, I had so many years where I didn't have a coach. And when I was a brown belt, a really good black belt from Arkansas came up and started training with us. He's like, I just like the vibe here. I love being here. And he knew Andre from back in the day, and he's a really good competitor, and he helped me a lot with a lot of things. And, one of the things that he said to me when I was competing a lot, he said, do you want to keep doing stupid shit or do you want to win? And I had to, like, stop and think about it. I was like, well, I kind of like doing stupid shit, really. But, I mean, winning sounds pretty cool, too. And so, he told me that, and my first match at black belt, I won. I was like, hey, cool. No, my first match. My first comp at black belt, I got to win. My first match, I lost in about 45 seconds to a guy I later found out had won worlds like 5 times. He was really nice about it, except for the part where I think he broke my neck. But he was, like, gentle about the neck break, But having a guy like that to just kind of help me understand basic principles of, like, maintain connection here, cover here, just little stuff like that I kind of missed over the years and didn't really get to teach myself. And, you kind of going to have those different points of views and just keep growing no matter what fucking belt you are. Like, who cares? Get better at shit, So, like, I just want people to get better so that they can make themselves better, honestly. You asked about the highs and lows of gym ownership that people don't see.
Yeah.
The lows, listen, people think that it's cool to own a gym. You just get to train jiu-jitsu. I'm going to tell you about 80% of it is cleaning up gross shit, right? People are going to get a little poo-poo on the toilet, maybe. That's why it gets bleached every day.
Yep.
People are going to, kids are going to tinkle on the floor. People are going to puke. Apparently somebody puked on the mats in open mat yesterday. The ladies' open mat.
Were there gonna plaster Zin packets on
Yeah, there was the Zin Bandit, whoever the hell was doing that. I should have taken those in and had those DNA tested, found out who the hell that was. But finding Zin packets, or there's always gonna be hairs everywhere, and in jiu-jitsu every hair is a pube, just so you know.
Yep.
So that's gross. It's a bunch of cleaning. You're gonna find dust bunnies in corners, and that sucks. And you got to deal with some bullshit sometimes, and that's part of it. Jake Fox calls them growing pains. Well, I like the growing part, so I'm going to put up with it.
Yeah.
That's fine. I'm just trying to evolve. The highs for me of gym ownership is, I mean, getting to train wherever I want is pretty cool. But to me, like seeing people succeed, do shit they want to do. Like, hey, I want to get to this belt. Hey, I want to compete. Hey, I want to feel better about this. Justin was still a white belt, and he was staying in a hotel, and some drunk guy tried to break in his hotel room. And he calmly took the guy, twisted his arm behind his back, escorted him to the front desk. I was like, so you were in this, and the guy was, it wasn't like it was just a push around. Like Justin's like, all right, well, I knew exactly what to do. I knew how to control him. He couldn't do anything. And I was like, okay, well, he's a Taekwondo black belt. How much Taekwondo did you use? 0. How much Jiu-Jitsu did you use? That was all Jiu-Jitsu. That's all that was. So like that feels good to me. And probably the pinnacle for me, other than like seeing guys, do great in competitions, and girls. Sorry, I don't want to leave anybody out, because we do have some absolute savage female competitors too. But one of my favorite things in the world, I've trained with Jake Fox as often as I can since I was a blue belt, since 2013. And I've rolled with him, and most of the time I try something, I'll get that's cute. And that's it. That's the closest thing to praise I ever got from him. That's cute. Nothing ever worked on him, but that's cute. And one time I was a brown belt, and I was rolling with him, and he said, hey, your guys are getting really good. And that's the best feeling thing I've ever heard in my entire life, was when Jake Fox, who I just, his gym's full of freaking killers. I mean, he's a great coach. He has so many great coaches there. He's got like 18 black belts there or something ridiculous. And when the first time he told me, your guys are doing really good, that meant more than any compliment he could have ever given me. And that's probably still one of my favorite things ever. And now every time I see him, he's very complimentary of everybody. He was like, holy shit, these guys are great. You're doing good. And I'm just like, thank you. I don't think that's all me, but thank you. And I'll take it. And he has since, no big deal, but he has actually complimented a couple of my techniques since then, including the handcuff, which he taught his students. Listen.
He didn't invite you to go teach it, though?
No, he taught it. But I'm just saying, I'm kind of a big deal. Like, as I said earlier, I put my pants on one leg at a time.
He should probably invite you to teach it.
But I got a real compliment one time. And then, then I'm rolling with his guys, and they start doing it to me. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Why are you doing my shit on me? He's like, oh yeah, Jake showed us this. I'm like, well, stop it.
Jake said it was his, but
he can have it. I'm not going to argue with him. But to me, that's the best feeling. And I've been working on some stupid shit I call the yeet sweep. It's like a reverse Della. It's like a reverse De La Hiva with
it
crazy,
definitely works. He's done it to me.
And I was doing that to Fox, and he's like, "Hey, that shit works." And I was like, "Oh, wait a minute." That was almost a compliment. I'm taking it as a compliment. I'm going to take that and run with it. But like to me, that's the highest thing, was that when the first time that Fox complimented how good everybody was doing. The next thing I've got here on this list, and I've got this cool list because I'm organized. The daily grind of making classes happen consistently. You don't think about like the lesson planning, which I've obviously fallen short on. I try and address deficiencies right now because I'm just like, well, what? I feel like I'm probably missing some things that people need to work on. So, I try and watch the rolls, and I'm like, all right, these people are struggling with sweeps. We're going to do a whole month of sweeps, But when I first started teaching all these day classes, I was like, Jake, how in the fuck do you teach classes all day and not just be so sore that you can't walk? And I had a few years where I would wake up in the morning for 6 a.m. class at 4 a.m. just to try and get my body warm enough to be able to walk. I couldn't walk. I couldn't move. I couldn't do anything. And I asked him how you do it. And he said, you need to work out more. And I was like, well, fuck you. Not doing that. Now it makes so much more sense. Now that I'm in better shape, I'm just like...
Is that where we're like riding your bike and stuff's come in?
That's for my knee rehab. Yeah. And, I rarely wear knee braces anymore just because, the doctor said I need to work on that lower quad. That's exactly what bike riding hits. It feels great. I did 15 miles today before I came here. Feels great. My knees feel super. I mean, they're not super. I mean, they're still, bone on bone, minimal meniscus in one knee, minimal cartilage in the other, but they don't hurt. I can walk without feeling like I'm being stabbed. So that's great. But yeah, his answer was work out more. And I thought that was the dumbest thing ever for about 4 years. And I was like, oh, yeah, never mind. He was right again.
Well, your daily grind, while you look through that, I'll give you a break. So your daily grind of like you got to build classes. Just this little while that Randy's been gone and I've been trying to fill the void and help. Because I love going in and being the assistant. I will be your forever Uki. It's awesome.
Hell yeah.
But then Justin's been gone doing stuff, so it's kind of fallen to me to do stuff. And I'm like, put me in a room full of cops. I can teach use of force. I can teach case law. I can teach defensive tactics. Put me in a room full of 12-year-olds, and I'm like,
terrifying.
I fall apart. And I love kids.
And they can smell fear.
Yeah, well, I try to be fun, but like, I want to know, because some of those kids are such killers. Like, I got to know my shit frontwards and backwards. Like, I went and I was like, we're going to teach arm bars from everywhere. And then I realized, like, Poppy and some of the girls in the class, I'm like,
oh my God, those girls are armbar machines.
yeah. So I had no problem. I did it, and I was like, hey, will you show me how you do that? So Poppy's literally sitting there in the middle of class like, oh, yeah, no, but if you turn this way, it does this. I'm like, all right, sweet. I learned something today from a 9-year-old, whatever she is.
Those kids are so good. I was talking to somebody the other day, and I pointed to the girls sitting in the corner, and I was like,
oh, that was me.
Was that you?
Yeah, we were like, they have 60 medals between them.
There's at least 60 medals between like 3 of those
Three girls?
Yeah.
Just in this year.
Since like January.
Yeah.
Those kids are nuts.
Killers.
They're so good.
Yeah.
Like, those girls are hitting like, my favorite armbar was this kid tried to take a girl down, and he hit like this like double leg, kind of lifted her up and turned. And as he was taking her down, as she's going down, her legs are going up around the head. She's got a hold of the arm. As soon as her shoulder touched the mat, the kid was tapping to an armbar from taking this girl down.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Those girls are killers.
That same girl last weekend at a tournament, she was trying to pass this girl's guard, and she just high-stepped right past her leg and sat down into an armbar.
Yeah.
Basically a flying armbar while the girl was sitting. Coolest thing I ever saw. I'm so glad that they've got an Instagram. You can just watch their freaking highlight reels of just crazy crap that they do. And I'm just like, well, they didn't learn that from me, but that's cool. I like that. That's cool. They can just, they train together so much that they just kind of feel, we're all hosed as soon as they get in the adults class, because they're just going to wreck all of us.
Yeah. Well, we have a signature question, and I think you've already done a really good job at answering it, but why?
Killed it already.
Yeah, I think you already killed it. And this, so you are guest number 3, but episode 007, so 007, Mike.
Hell yeah.
And I think maybe it'll just be everybody knows our signature question. They just answer it as they go, because the past couple have organically done it. But like, what is your why? As you see, we printed some things out. You see our logo with the Y. Yeah. Grind spelled weird. What's the why behind like why you show up every day at AForce?
First of all, this feels great. I've listened to every episode, your hundreds of episodes.
Thank you.
I mean, your 6, 7 episodes, because one of them wasn't quite an episode, I guess. It was an update, state of the pod, whatever. I don't know.
It counts.
Yeah, it counts. So
it gets views, so it counts.
Man, my why is just that I fucking love this shit. And when I started with it, I was so horrible, and I've had plenty of struggles. I just really freaking like jiu-jitsu. And I don't know why. It's not the type of thing, like if you talk to anybody I went to school with, they're like, what? Nerdy ass Mike? Is he still wearing Hawaiian shirts and doing art all the time? First of all, my Hawaiian shirts are all too big right now, but I'd love to get some that fit, because I fucking love Hawaiian shirts. But like, I was the most non-violent, to the point where I was cowardly, didn't want anything to do with guns, didn't want anything to do with violence. And this stuff I love, and maybe I love it because I can keep it from being violent with it. It's good for the soul. I think that's a cheesy ass thing to say. Good for the soul. It's good for the soul. It's chicken soup for my soul. Whatever. It makes me feel good. Like it helps me most of the time. It helps me lower my stress level. It's physically good. Debatable. Maybe a little rough on the joints, but I'm not 400 pounds anymore. I'm upper 2s, but I'm still a fat guy, but I'm not 400-pound fat guy. And I get to hang out with just great people all the time. And I love that part. And I get to, just all sorts of different people. You'll be on the mats with a stoner and a football coach and an accountant and a cop and 6 engineers. And at the end of the day, we're all just the same kind of weaponized nerd, We're like,
Mhm.
all right, well, I'm going to put on these pajamas and hug you until you tell me that I'm better than you, basically. You're right. And I just love it. It's, there's problem solving. There's, you've got the grind with an I where you're just like, you're just kind of, it's not easy. It's fucking tough. And you're going to keep doing it and you're going to get a little better and you're going to make progress and you're going to see the progress, hopefully. And, sometimes we can't see our own progress, but it's there. And it's just, good times with good people, honestly. And when I travel, I try to always take a gi. I want to go train. I want to meet other people. I want to learn their different ways. Like, you know how to do a triangle. You can go to 10 different gyms and learn 10 different ways to, alter your finishing details. And they all work great. I want to learn all those. I love that shit. I love learning. And, I don't have to sit around and read a bunch of books to learn. I can sit here and talk to some guy with mangled fingers and gross ears in pajamas, and he's going to tell me how to strangle the shit out of this accountant sitting next to me. I fucking love it.
Yeah.
And I want everyone else to love it, and I want to make a place where people want to be. I want to make a place where people are like, man, today sucks, but at least I get to go do jiu-jitsu later. And I want that. I don't ever want it to be a place where people are like, I don't want to go there. I don't want to do that. Oh, I see that car in the parking lot. Don't like that. And, I don't want that place stinks. Whatever. I want people to want to be there. I want that. And I want people to keep growing. And that's one of my favorite things is watching people who are, they were a total no stripe, just basically jiu-jitsu idiot 6 months ago. And now they're an absolute freaking killer. I love that. And I'm going to take all of the credit for everyone doing that, even though it's probably just because we have so many great people in the gym that have great jiu-jitsu and they're all, helping each other. But I'm selfishly going to take a lot of that credit for my ego, because that's all I really care about at the end of the day is inflating my ego and feeling cool. Right?
Well, man, like your humility through all this, whenever you go out there and you teach, you're like, maybe the real black belts can show you. And like everything's always fun. Mm-hmm. But really, your humility and how and I don't give Pranker probably enough credit because you are kind of the face of it. Mm-hmm. And I know Pranker's back there teaching, doing stuff, but like the way that you guys run the gym absolutely makes it a place where I want to be.
Yeah, absolutely. And if Pranker wasn't of a similar mind, none of this would happen. Having him in my corner has been great this whole time, just because like he's like, I'll say like, man, maybe we shouldn't do this because of this. And he's like, yeah, I think you're right. And he's not just agreeing to agree. Like he legitimately, I'll just keep talking if you let me.
No, that's fine. But I mean, like you guys really have built a place that is a place where I want to be, a place where I want to take my friends. Like I went back to it and then I went out on a limb and I'm like, I'm going to drag all my friends there because it's a place that deserves to be there. Mm-hmm. And we've grown our friend group because of that. It is a place that we can go, and it's hard for probably me and Matt to let our guard down sometimes. Mm-hmm. And I can get a hold of people that have drug tattoos and prison tattoos and that live a very different life than what I live.
Yeah.
But on that mat, I don't give a shit who they are or what they do. They're a homie.
It's hard to not be close to somebody when they're sweating in your eye.
Yeah.
It's hard to not have that, at least a little bit of, I don't know if camaraderie is the right word. Whatever.
Definitely.
Camaraderie, I don't know if brotherhood's a good word for that, but just
I think it fits.
Being close to people, there's, I don't know if intimacy is even.
I don't
the right
think
word,
that one probably fits as much.
Think that one's, sometimes you're in a north-south position, it feels very intimate, but I don't think that's going to be the appropriate word here, But I mean, we're getting close with these people, not in a weird way. It's kind of weird. Actually, jiu-jitsu is really fucking weird. Actually, think whatever.
Yeah, you just fold close with people in them.
Yeah. Yeah, hopefully. Or you're getting folded, and that sucks.
But for whatever it's worth, for me and my buddies, man, you guys have built a place that I want to be and I'm not scared to tell people about. So thank you for doing that.
That's the entire goal, for sure. That's what we
100%,
want.
Yeah.
We want a good place where people are not afraid to grow and, we're not afraid to grow. I'm not trying to sound all cheesy, but like, I want people to come in here and be like, you know what, I want to work on this. I want to be better at this. And it's going to make you feel better.
Sweet. Well, I'm going to plug all the stuff as far as the the gym, everything. AForce, Missouri, Webb City, Missouri. What else you got to plug?
Oh, let me see. Yeah,
Dude,
let's
this
see.
has been a
Anything to promote is blank.
absolutely incredible conversation.
I got
Like
I got nothing.
Okay. Well, we'll plug it, and prices and everything are there, but first couple classes are free. Bring
Yeah.
your kids.
First week's free. I mean, I say jujitsu's for everybody. Obviously, it's not like for everybody. If you don't have any arms or legs, maybe it'll be harder. I don't know. Whatever.
We always say this, I've never heard somebody who their life's been worse because of jiu-jitsu.
Right.
Give it a shot.
That's it. That's all I got.
Cool. All
Everybody
right.
should try it out.
Yeah.